Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy, and this is my husband, Colin, and we are Airbnb Superhosts.
Hey, everybody.
We've been in the Airbnb game now for 10 years, and we started with one property, and then we had as many as five, and now we've got four on the go.
That's right. And we're located in the Gulf Coast of Florida, which has become a super popular spot for mostly northern people that are trying to get away from the cold and also just looking to kind of escape the hustle and bustle and get to the coast of the U.S. The Gulf side is beautiful. It's got turquoise water. There's a sunset behind you from one of our favorite islands, Longboat Key. Beautiful places down the Gulf Coast of Florida that are kind of like being in the Caribbean, but within a drive of major airports like Tampa, Sarasota, Fort Myers.
And we've really enjoyed our time being Airbnb hosts and now super hosts, which we're very proud of. Yay. But we've had some bad things happen over the years, and we want to help you avoid some of the things that we've been through. And we're here to answer any questions you may have. And I guess we want to start off today just by talking about getting into it in the first place. If you're thinking of maybe even renting a room in your home, make sure that if you live in some kind of HOA community, you're allowed to do that, because if you think you can get away with it and not get caught, you'll probably get caught, because neighbors chat and they will notice, and you don't want to get involved in all that. So don't even bother if it's not allowed in your community.
Yeah, definitely. That would be one of my first pieces of advice is to follow your county guidelines and your state guidelines, which means exactly as Cindy said, look into what the possibilities are, what the restrictions are. A lot of counties in Florida in particular have different restrictions. Some of the keys and islands are 1 month is allowed, but you can't do short-term rentals. So you have to be really careful with that. And a lot of these municipalities and townships and counties have compliance officers whose sole job is to make sure that you're following the rules. And if you aren't, the fines can be pretty extreme. And so basically our message is go by the book right from the start. Don't try to play around and see what happens, because it'll come back and bite you later. So
yeah, it's usually not worth it to take that chance. So once you get all the clear and you're good to go, and you find out what you can do and you follow those rules, you have to decide, am I going to manage this myself, or am I going to get somebody to manage this for me? And of course, location has a lot to do with it. If it's something you can get to easily. We've been managing our Airbnbs ourselves, but we do know people that have had companies or managers take care of their places, because they really just want to get the bookings and not have to deal with the phone calls or the plumbing situations, or because those things definitely do crop up. We've come to expect it now.
yeah, and the downside of doing it yourself, or not doing it yourself, I should say, the downside of getting a management company is you're often giving away 15 or 20% to that company. So that's really what you have to consider, whether you want to keep the tighter margins and make the money yourself, or if you have a little bit of margin that you can give away. So for us, it makes more sense. We're pretty local and close to our properties, so we're able to get up and down to our properties quickly from our hometown. And we also have most of these places have professional cleaners in the area, so you can get cleaners that really can do the turnkey day of. If it's someone checking out the same day as someone else is checking in, your cleaners can handle all of that if they're good. You make sure they're good, obviously. And it kind of makes it almost like having a management company in that sense. You don't have to be there during that turnaround. So there's a chance of being self-managed with good cleaners is the way you can do it if you're close.
Yeah, initially we decided, we can do this. How tough is it going to be to clean?
To
And
clean, yeah.
yeah, remember initially we did that. We cleaned ourselves, and then we learned pretty quickly that that was a lot more than we wanted to be doing, because you think, even if it's, let's say, a 2-bedroom condo, you think, I'll just whip that together right away. It takes time. You have to do laundry. Everything has to get cleaned. You don't know what the state of the place is going to be. So that got old real fast. So we recommend, if you can find some good, reasonably priced cleaners, that is probably one of the best investments, I think, that you can make when it comes to your Airbnb business. Don't you think, Carl?
Yeah, definitely. They can really especially if they take pride in your property in particular. We have some really good people who do extra things that we wouldn't think of. So it's a bonus really having professional cleaners, and they can be quite affordable. In our area, they're between from $80 to about $150, depending on the size of the condo or property you're having cleaned. And so you can spend usually you can charge that exact fee on your Airbnb or VRBO listing, and charge the guest that exact amount. So it's not really a cost to you, and it's basically gives you kind of a hotel style, resort style check-in for your new guests, because the good cleaners will leave the soaps and the towels folded nicely, and
They know how to fold
they know how to fold
and
beautifully,
they know how
and
to make a bed.
yeah, they know how to make a fancy looking bed, and they also do nice little touches, like the toilet paper is kind of fanned out into or in a little V,
Yeah,
and
you just
the
treat
Kleenex is
them.
fanned out like a flamingo or something. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
treat your cleaners well, and
Yeah.
your cleaners will be amazing. That is really, honestly, it's priceless what they do. So
Yep.
kudos to them. Now, as far as proceeds, when you pricing your place, it doesn't hurt to look and see. You can usually find things in your area and see how other people are pricing their places. We started off sort of on the low side and then gradually kind of worked our way up just to see how it would go. And I guess when you get to a point when you've outpriced yourself, you know pretty quickly when nobody's booking. But so far, we've been pretty spot on, I think. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
better to
think.
start
Mhm.
mid and then go up, I think, rather than go, I don't know, unless you want to swing for the fences right off the bat.
Yeah, I'd say go a little lower side, because your goal really with Airbnb in particular is to become a super host, which takes good ratings. So initially, you're not going to just jump out of the gate and everyone's going to find your property, because they're actually going to find superhost properties before yours. So I think lower pricing is good off at the start to get some reviews. You want to get people into your place and really do a great job with your cleaning, and be really attentive with those early guests, and they will give you 5-star reviews. And once you accumulate a few of those, then you can start raising your prices and getting kind of test the top of the market and see what the market will bear from supply and demand. So
And
I'd
from
say,
what I've,
yep.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, same thing. I was just saying, start low, build a client base, get some reviews, and then start testing the market.
And be available to your guests. I have read on some other people's reviews that it's hard to find the owners and they feel like they get the runaround and they don't know who to talk to, and it just becomes a cluster. So do make yourself available to your
Yeah.
guests.
And on
Unless
that
you've got
note,
like 1,000 people you're renting to. I know that would be pretty much impossible, but right now we're just talking about we have 5, and that seems
yeah.
to be pretty manageable.
And on that exact note, we're always checking our Airbnb app, and I just got a message right now, Cindy. So
Oh, what they
I should
say?
address that. They said, "Okay, thank you."
Oh, good. We love to hear. Okay, thank
So
you.
that was a response to a question earlier on. Someone came to one of our condos. They brought 2 vehicles. Our listing actually says one parking spot only, but they had 2 vehicles. So we said, try to park them back to back. A lot of these vacation resort areas have very minimal parking because they're thin strips of land with a beach and a bay on the other side. So just make sure you're clear in your listing about how many parking spots you have. And then, yeah, really, we just try to stay on top of basically with Airbnb. If you haven't signed in, you get messages all the time from every guest. You get a ping in your email and a ping in your text. So there's no way to miss it unless you're just not looking at your phone. So you do have to be aware of that. We both set a tone on our phone so we hear that it's an Airbnb message, and that's a top priority for us, because you really want to answer your guests super quickly. And in some cases, it'll save your bacon if you answer them quickly, because it might be a plumbing issue, water leaking somewhere, and you need to address that as
Yes,
fast as
we
possible. Yeah,
had a garbage disposal was leaking, and you don't want to let a leak go for very long. And
that's right,
thankfully they
Cindy.
got in touch with us. We got in touch with our plumber, and it was taken care of. Also, don't try. I know this is obvious, but no bait and switch. I mean, be honest with your listing. If it's in a really shady area, don't try to make it seem like it's in the middle of a Park Avenue, because it's not. So because people hate to feel like they've been fooled, and that will really not go well for you in the reviews. So just be honest. If it's quaint, say quaint. That's a nice way of
Yeah.
saying small or cute, but don't say spacious if it's not.
Yeah,
Just be honest.
a lot of our guests actually tell us that our places are bigger and better and cleaner than they thought they should be.
Thought they
Than
would
they
be,
thought they
not
were.
should.
Than they thought they were. Yeah. And that's on us a little bit too. I think we're starting to explore a little more, getting more professional photography done. We've done most of our pictures ourselves, but if you can get the pro in there with a wide angle lens, it makes the place look spectacular. Like Cindy's background right there, that's shot with a wide angle lens.
To be
I think
honest,
it's
full
just a
disclosure,
background.
this is not our house.
That is not your Airbnb. Let's have a look at
No,
that. I
no,
think,
it is not.
do you offer a baby grand in your Airbnb listing, Cindy?
If
That
I
might be a
had
full
one,
grand.
I would be honest and say yes, you can come play the
That's
piano,
right.
but we
And
don't.
that's not a baby grand, that's full.
How
But
long did it take for us to become Superhost? Do you recall, Colin?
yeah, I think about a year and a half or so. I think we started with just one property. One thing that you'll find that happens too is you'll get people that want to come back, and some of those will contact you directly. The problem with doing those kind of things, having return guests come outside of Airbnb, where they just become friendly with you. You get to know them, and they email you and say, "Hey, can I stay next year for 2 months?" First of all, you don't get reviews from them. So our first property, we didn't have a lot of reviews because we had a lot of return. People would stay once and they'd want to come back, and they'd book the next year right away. So I would advise try to stay within Airbnb as much as you can. Keep your rentals in there. It's a lot more efficient. You also have some protections as well. You have guarantees and stuff from Airbnb that give you liability protection, that kind of thing. So it's probably a bit safer to be in there,
Yeah.
And it's better for communication too. I don't want to get too far down the path here, but the worst thing that you can do is double book, which becomes possible when you have Airbnb, VRBO, and you do stuff on the side directly with people who contact you, friends, family, that kind of thing. So
And
just
on
be really
another
careful.
day, we will
Yep.
share with you how
That's right.
colossally, is that a word? How much of a
Colossally, it's not
how much of a colossal failure that can be when you've got somebody double booked,
the
and the
biggest.
panic that goes
Yeah.
through your heart goes whoomp, and then you go, okay, now I have to find a place for this person, and it's going to cost me probably more than I'm going to make off the other person that's staying in my place. It's
Yeah,
bad.
definitely. That's the worst part is you start doing the math and you realize that there is nothing available in your area because most of these renters are coming peak season, busy time, and
Right.
it is very expensive. So you wind up losing money on a rental if you double book.
Yeah.
The other thing that can happen is if you're not able to get them a place, which luckily hasn't happened to us yet, you'd get a disastrous rating on Airbnb and it would wipe out a lot of work. So just be
Yeah.
careful with your calendars. But we're
Yep.
probably getting too far down the path. I think.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We will explore that though
Yeah.
on a future episode. And
But
we
from
want to
a
hear your stories too, because I know there are other Airbnbers out there, and I'm sure you've got some great advice to share as well. So please put your comments below, please. And if you have any questions, we've probably been there and done that. So please feel free to put your questions in the comments, and next round we'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, definitely, and always make sure that. Well, I guess the first step you have to take is realizing that it's doable and it's quite feasible for you to do this, just by owning one extra property in an area that you know is a popular destination. You can get your foot in the door and start that way and build
Or even a
slowly.
guest house in your backyard.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Guest house in your backyard. We haven't personally done a room in our house. We don't know how that works. I mean, we know how it works, but
We would,
yeah.
but I
But
don't think it's allowed in our neighborhood.
okay, that's another possibility as well. To start with a room in your house with, and you can be very specific about what kind of guests you want as far as when you're hosting a guest on Airbnb, you can require that you see their picture, their ID, and everything else. There's a lot of you can do different levels of verification if you're more comfortable seeing everything and getting to know them. You can also have the option of approving the renter rather than we do a lot of instant booking, which helps us get more bookings because our places are pretty turnkey and ready to go. So we have the instant booking settings. So someone, if they've provided the proper identification to Airbnb and they've got their credit card set up and everything, they can instant book without us knowing. We just get the confirmation that they've booked. But before that, when we started, we always did the approval process. So we would see them and get to know them and then decide if we were going to rent to them.
Because a lot of people have prior reviews themselves.
Yes.
So you can kind of look back and see how they've done at other Airbnbs. And if they've got 1 star, you might want to say, no, not going to work.
Yeah, that's one thing we should mention quickly about the Airbnb platform. Are we covering too many things, Cindy? Maybe.
But really quickly before we say goodbye.
Yeah, just that, yeah, everyone's reviewed. So you're peer reviewed. So all of the guests have star ratings as well. So you can check their star ratings and read their reviews. A lot of reviews will say stuff like they left the place in great shape, super wonderful to be talk with, and very good communication, which is the main thing. You really want to know, you want your guests to talk to you. So when you send them a message about something important, you want them to reply. So that leads to better ratings for the guests when they're communication is one of the 5 qualifications for a review. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this was a good start.
All right. Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, Carl.
We'll be jumping back in with different levels of tips and experiences we've had, and I think we're going to be doing some live stuff as well, so we'll be able to
Definitely
interact a little more. But for now, please ask us any questions you have. If you're thinking about doing Airbnb, if you're early in the game, we're about 10 years in, as Cindy said, so we've got a lot of experience and can share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
Definitely subscribe, please, and I can't wait to get this mode of communication going with all of you, because I love being able to share what we've done, and we'll probably get some tips from you as well, which would be great.
Definitely, yeah.
All
Good
right.
stuff. Thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.